Hey Virgo, I was trying to get the audio set up and in sync with the video. You know me, I never know if I do it right. Okay, so I'll just go through my normal rundown. If you don't find a message in this reading, if it doesn't vibe with you, please check your moon or your rising sign. Also, you can check your Vedic chart and find your sign in the Vedic chart and use that sign for your reading. Additionally, if it's a message regarding love, you can check your birth charts, the Vedic and the Western birth charts, find the sign that Venus resides in the zodiac chart, and you may find a love message there. Also, there are certain dates, and I didn't specifically look them up this time, but so you could be a Virgo Libra cusp, or you could be a Leo Virgo cusp if you're born at the end of the time that zodiac starts, or the beginning of the time the next one starts. So it's not too hard to figure out. So let's start with your cards. I did pull them already. You know, Virgos are natural healers, and I was thinking of the phrase that this phrase came to me. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I guess I never really stopped or inquired about what that phrase really meant. I always thought it kind of meant something else, and basically what it's supposed to mean was that you can have all kinds of good intentions, but if you don't act on them, you know, what's the point? And that makes sense. But I always thought it was, you know, you try to do something with good intentions, and somehow it just goes, south. It all goes to hell, but your intentions were good. I mean, it's kind of a satirical way to look at it, but I guess that's what I always thought that it meant. But in this case, it does echo my what I thought it originally meant. You are, if there was ever a sign, and if any of you think that earth angels exist or light workers exist, they would be Virgos. They're the healers. Virgo stands for virgin, and it's not a coincidence. The glyph, the M for the zodiac sign, was modeled after the Virgin Mary, and I believe Adonis's mother, Myra, and Buddha's mother, Maya, they were all virgin mothers, and Mana means house of bread. So there's a significance to the letter M, and I really found a lot of biblical or religious connotations with your reading, especially when it came to the Virgin Mary, because really quickly, she didn't have a very good life. She was Mary of Nazareth, right? And I'm pretty sure this was could have been in the Torah, but I believe it was in the Quran. She was she was younger than 13 or 14, and both of her parents passed away, and she was actually given to Joseph. And then when she hit puberty around 13 or 14 and became a woman, she was able to be married, and that's when the angel Gabriel came to her and told her, that she was, or no, she heard God's voice, and that she was going to carry she was going to be with child. So she assumed that she was going to have to be with a man. So she goes into this cave or something, and she strips down. Now, mind you, she's only 13 or 14 according to the Quran, and gets behind a screen, and this male angel comes in there and she's naked and she's expecting that she's going to have to do something with this angel. That's what I got from it. I mean, imagine she's had a very painful life. She's this young, and now she's stripping down and having some strange like, entity, as far as she knows, or some angel come in, and she thinks she's going to have sex with him, but that's not. We all know that's not how it played out. Anyway, and fast forward, then the account of Jesus being crucified, and I'm not taking sides on any part of religion. This is just text. Um, he's crucified, and there are little to no accounts of documentation of her emotions in the Bible anywhere in the future or anything. She may have uttered a couple of words, but there are no accounts anywhere, referencing her feelings or anything. And she was devastated. She had a very painful life. So I'm not saying that your life is painful. It's just it was interesting. That's where we're taking off from here. We're going to get into ancient Egyptian religion. I had this card, and I have a feeling that since Virgos are healers, and because of the history of the mythology around your sign, which is about Demeter and Hades and Persephone, and Virgos like gardening, they like planting things. Virgos like cooking. They like natural remedies. Um, I think the reason why they like to cook so much is because they like mixing things. It's kind of like alchemy. It's in their ancient zodiac. I think so. Here, I really got the. It reminded me of the story behind your sign of Demeter and Hades, and uh, I believe what happened was, yeah, Persephone was out in the field. She was picking flowers or something, and then Hades comes up and decides that he wants her, and he takes her down to hell. And then uh, another god, I'm drawing a blank on who it was, anyway, told Demeter where her daughter was, and I think for 9 days straight she roamed the earth, all over the earth. She didn't stop to eat, sleep, anything, looking for her daughter until she found out where she was. And when she didn't have her daughter, she destroyed all the crops. The earth went cold. So it's kind of the mythology around how winter starts, because what happened was she ended up having to make a deal with Hades because he fed Persephone a pomegranate, and then that made her have to stay in hell forever. And so during the winter months, Persephone goes back down. They get to keep her half and half, half the time. It's really kind of messed up. But anyway, so that's how winter starts, and that's in the sign of Virgo. So, and then when spring comes around, Persephone is said to have come back up to the ground with her mother, and that's when everything starts blooming again. And it really reminded me of this card. And again, here with just the alchemy and the healers. Another interesting thing, Mother Teresa is a Virgo. My question is to you, Virgo, how far do you go before you stop? How hard do you work before you destroy yourself for other people? That's what I want to know, because I'm getting a really strong message here that you work. I've got working your fingers to the bone, and you will do it. You will do it for anybody, all the time, anytime. Your level of empathy and care for other people is beyond measure. That is a Virgo. On the flip side, there are Virgos that can be quite nasty, but I don't think any Virgo starts out that way. I think that they are genuinely good people, probably the kindest people the zodiac. And what happens is they get burned so bad by other people. Interesting that I used the word burn, that we were just talking about Hades, that they, I want to say, they become like a dark angel. You know, they just, the disgust and contempt for the evil in this world is something that they just can't handle, and they just become sort of poisoned by other people's toxicity, because Virgos do not start out that way. And you know, your need for obvious perfectionism, because we all know Virgos are perfectionists, they're type A personalities, and it's that will destroy you too. I read somewhere that it's like slow suicide, and I think the author even said he wasn't even being facetious when he said that. I'm trying to remember who wrote that. Um, Kevin, Dr. Kevin Lehman, but it was in his birth order book that was probably just a continuation of Alfred Adler's birth order theory. He's a psychologist. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, you extend you overextend yourself, and that was exactly what I was seeing here. Um, you know, this really made me think of the Hades demeanor thing. I mean, here is green, and you know, down here it's like hell. You know, you it's almost like the a Virgo can fall from grace in a way when they just have disgust and contempt for, and I don't want to say it's ignorance, it's the lack of unfeeling, the lack of uncaring in this world is very painful for a Virgo, because they feel it. They don't understand when someone's suffering or when someone's hurting, how other people can't see it, because they're so deeply affected by it, and then they are in turn upset because the other people don't understand. While you know, they could be called a drama queen, or you know, a Virgo would get really depressed because you know their feelings run so deep, and their level of care is so deep. It's more than other people, and they don't have the you guys don't have the capacity to compartmentalize pain and suffering. You can't see it and not do something about it. And here is when these cards came out together, it was a very clear message about, you know, you trying to do everything. You're holding this ball, you know, all these balls you're trying not to drop right underwater, you know, which we know signifies emotion, drowning in it, trying to hold on to everything. And here, just the same thing. You're you're just you get run down, you're exhausted, and you drown in your emotions, because God forbid a Virgo will ask anybody for help. You will try to handle it on your own until you start to drown. And at that point, I don't even know that you would even help people. Hopefully somebody sees you and comes to your rescue, but that just depends on the other person, I guess. Because with this, I got, and even with those cards, I, I feel like you have trouble sleeping at night. And also, I was really getting a sense that somebody was suffering with some kind of maybe a chronic illness. I don't think it's anything bad, but just something where you're genuinely not feeling well. You're having trouble sleeping, because I kind of got the sense that the moon and the stars here, that somebody's up. She looks like she's in a silk robe and she's up all hours of the night. She can't sleep. Either that, or you're just really worried about somebody, because that's you. And like I said, other people will just go on their merry way. I see, I don't know why these two girls in this card just, they have a really kind of a bratty, like entitled look on their face. And, you know, there's a sparkly boat, they're in a fog, like in a cloud, you know, and perhaps they do see pain or suffering that's going on with someone, yet they choose to go on to, I'm seeing like parties or whatever, and celebrations, while you know they're the ones that can turn a blind eye. Both of these people, both of these girls have masks covering their eyes, and they can turn a blind eye. Yet you, on the other hand, are sitting there just constantly on your mind, so you kind of think like, look, these peacock feathers, look at those people just, dressed up, going out, doing their thing, and here, there's all this suffering going around. And even in this card, like I was seeing, now there's two girls here, right? And you have to really, really look hard to see this, but Four of Wands usually is some kind of celebration or a party, right? The one girl, she looks a little more put together. Her dress is a little more pressed. It's not wrinkled. Her hair's smooth. Her makeup looks really nice. And the other girl, her hair is just a wreck. Her dress is all wrinkled. And she's kind of like out of it, like tired. And it's you. It's you are the person that when you have a Christmas party or a Christmas dinner or something like that, you just cook and you clean and you do everything for everybody. And by the time the party gets around, you're spent because you want to make sure everybody else is having a good time. That's not you. And I get kind of a Julian Assange, Edward Snowden kind of vibe about the lengths that you will go to when something needs to be done, or if somebody's in pain. You stop at nothing. You do drastic things. Because you cannot tolerate it. All things aside, it would be like you charging into a ring of fire or a cage of lions to help somebody or save somebody, and not care what other people think. Your main purpose is making sure that someone that you love, anybody, is not suffering, and you will pull out all the stops to do so. Over here, this situation here, this is about your kids. We all know Virgos. You guys are the mother, right? Married mother, and the pages can represent the younger kids. And when kids become adolescents or teenagers or even young adults, excuse me, it's not out of the ordinary for them to have arguments with their mom, right? And at times kids can go a little too far. They can use foul language. They can really blow up. You can have arguments. You can go through times in their young adult years where you don't speak to them. You have really bad fights, right? And you stop and think, they're like, wow, they would never talk to their grandparents like that, or they would never talk to their dad like that. And it really had me thinking. Here you are, and there's all these geese around this woman, right? And then I had the golden egg come out, and I was thinking, Mother Goose, this kind, nurturing mother that you were to your kids. So I was thinking, I said, of course, excessive disrespect is, it's not tolerable. But here's the thing. I don't know one person, and I'm sure they exist, that doesn't have an explosive outburst or release of emotion when they're angry. And I think that they are able to do that with you because of unconditional love. They know that no matter what, you will always be there for them. So if they feel like they need to be angry or something like that, in the back of their mind, they always know, because of the type of mother that you've been, that you will love them unconditionally, even if they act a fool. You're always going to be there, always. They had that much faith and trust in you because of the type of mother that you've been to them. So if you have some unruly teenagers, or you're not getting along with your children or something like that, because I mean it can happen. They always come back around because, and you have, and I think you know that too. There's this kind, accepting, gentle personality around a Virgo mother, and even Virgo fathers are like that too. They're just, they, like I said, if there was a sign that the earth angels came from, or light workers, vice versa, whatever, I really think it would be Virgos. I kept kind of seeing this, like an IV bag, like an IV drip that was like sucked dry. Like, even if you're not feeling well or you're sick, you're still pouring all of your help into taking care of all these people, and you combine that with your perfectionist type A personality, and it really could be like that author said. It could be slow suicide. You have to take care of yourself, and even when you're you know jumping, or I want to say kind of making decisions, things that you need to do to take care of people that seem maybe extraordinary to other people, or I don't want to say dangerous isn't the right word. Like I said, you won't stop at, you will go to any length to take care of someone. And even though, people can see this, right, you are still the one that it will end up being your fault. I often see Virgos in situations where they can stay in relationships that are unhealthy for a long, long time because of their just innate drive to help somebody and make them better. You think that you're going to change that person, and then you end up just being used, abused, taken advantage of, and then whatever you do, you end up, you know, and not just in a marriage. I'm not talking about just in that relationship, in any situation, and then you're just you're the sacrificial lamb, right? You are the camel hair that holds all the water. You're holding all the emotion, and um, it's you hold it all in, everything, and you try to keep. I kind of got the feeling like this was a network, right? And you're just trying to hold it all together, and keep it all in there. I also found it really interesting that there were a lot of this kind of goes with the next message that I'm getting to, but there were a lot of the animals all had some significance in the Bible here with this message. It was kind of cool. So this goes down here, and this can go with that too. I do want to say, as far as your in your love life area, someone, two things here. If you're in a relationship and you're married, you have a really really good husband. I see him kind of like admiring you, just really really loves you. Could be a fire sign, Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius. Doesn't have to be, but that's kind of like the energy I'm getting. You two actually both love each other, and Virgos, despite the reference I made to being in an abusive relationship, that's for a few, not everybody, but I was just saying that can happen, right? But Virgos usually stay in, or they usually end up having a good marriage, maybe even after they've had a bad one, because they're so domesticated. They're nurturers, and like guys and even women they want partners like that. You know you're loving, and you care for each other, and there's a lot of far beyond reciprocity in the relationship, because you, again, go over and above for your family. And this guy's a little bit younger than the other guy. I just, I don't know if this person is far away from you or if you're together, but just know if you're on each other's minds, males, you're both thinking about each other quite admirably too, really deeply, like a really deep sense. So I'm 14 on here. Valentine's Day, maybe something may happen. And Ace of Cups, just an overflowing of love. That is something that's significant here. And well, throughout the whole reading, with your children, with your husband, with your love partner, in your relationship. This is you, just overflowing love. And when I was talking about you being the sacrificial lamb, actually the first message I got when I first started pulling these cards was you sticking your neck out for someone, right? Look how they're all sticking, their necks are sticking out. But then here, I see, back to this thing here where you were just trying to hold everything together and do something and take care of things, and then you make a move, you have to do something drastic to save somebody or to help someone. And, basically there was no care given at all while everybody else was out, at their parties or whatever. And then as soon as you do something, they pounce on you, and again, then you feel, undervalued, and you don't express it. You don't talk to anybody about it because, I think you are aware, you do, as you get older and mature, you start to understand your emotions pretty well. And that's why you are kind of able to deal with them and hold them in, because you know that your intentions were pure. Like I said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, even though that's not quite what it meant. But there may very well come a period in the near future where you are going to have to, lay it out on the line, and tell them, look, I did what I had to do because I had to step up. I had to do something. I don't think you're gonna have any problem doing that, because whenever it goes pissed off, you can see it in their eyes. They will blow eventually. You can tell. A lot of times they'll just walk outside though and start like breaking stuff or something. They don't really yell too much. What I see in your future for you is very, if you believe in spiritual stuff, spiritual, but it's really nice, because I think you were, and it does sometimes, it takes into your adult years to realize this, that you've driven yourself down into the ground. But you come to the conclusion that yes, you need to rest for your best interest. Despite everything that you did from your heart, and you rest easy because you know that your heart is pure, and that what you do is done out of, to relieve suffering for other people. You're very close to Libra in a lot of ways. There's a lot of similarities, especially in Greek mythology, where Libra stands for justice and fairness, as do you. However, yours is an intolerance for just human decency, human suffering. And I think there's a little bit of difference between human suffering and fairness. They're both great terms, but there's a difference. But yours comes from Yours comes from the heart. Yours is purely out of emotion because it pains you to see other people in pain. Um, this kind of transformation that you've been going through, I really feel like it's these numbers came out consecutively, right? You have 10, 11, and 12. October, November, December. So this is something that you've kind of figured out now. You are finding something within yourself. You are, and I also kind of got like a Holy Trinity kind of vibe, or mind, body, soul thing here, because this is healing and moral strength, right? So that's where it starts. November is the transformation and the rebirth, and the very Scorpio like here. And then you have the singer of the chalice, which is hope and miracles and patience. And you've come to the point where you know that you've reconciled within yourself, and it's really great, uh, because around Christmas time, I mean, like I've said before, the star is healing card, and um, one of the things that really got me thinking about Virgos when I was doing your I'd started I had pulled your cards. It's been maybe 2 days ago, and I had Christmas music on. I didn't even realize it was Christmas music, but I had some classical music on the TV on the station, and they started playing the Christmas instrumental music, and that song is the most wonderful time of the year here on. I really hate that song because they play it like in every store all the time. And for me personally, I've had like two major things happen in my life that were very similar that happened around Christmas. So to me, it's not the most wonderful time of the year. I like Easter, but that's just me. And so I grabbed the remote. I was just about to shut it off. It like rolled my eyes. Not really a big deal. I just ever since I was a kid, it was always run here, run there. Christmas was always hectic. Now I like the lights and the ambiance and the smells and all that stuff and being around your family, but it always seemed stressful. Run here, run there, and that even like continued into my adult lives when we were coming to this grandparents' house, and it's just never been a relaxing holiday. And then fast forward, then I had two major things happen in my life that both happened around Christmas. So, it's not the most wonderful time of the year for me. Besides winter, I like spring. So, I'm an Easter person. So anyway, I grabbed the remote and I go to change it, and Oh Holy Night came on. I stopped because when I started playing piano, that was the first song I learned how to play, and I love the song. And as it was playing, the lyrics I know by heart were going through my head, and I said, "Wait a minute." I said, in a situation where, if somebody were to insert the Jesus Christ consciousness in for Jesus Christ and they were like reconciling, you know, your soul feeling its worth again around this whole thing, it and it really got me thinking about Virgo. And I said, well, the Bible and everything, it's done from like Hebrew and Latin and Greek, and anointing. Okay, so Christ, sort of like a similar word, means the anointed one. That's what Christ means, and that anointed means healed. I think in Latin it's Estor Christos Jesus, Estor Christos Jesus, something like that. And yeah, that means anointed, but it's Christus. It's Christ. The name is in Estor Christus Saves, and so then I had the urge to listen to Oh Holy Night in Latin, and Latin music is like, I mean, I love it. But anyway, it was a whole dynamic around you being a healer, you overextending yourself, but then coming to a point where you really, really reconcile your soul. I see something really, really beautiful coming to you right after Christmas. There's gonna be a bumpy road up until then, but there's a healing, there's a new opportunity, there's a transformation. It's something that you finally get to a point where you learn how to balance taking care of yourself as well as taking care of other people. You don't become one of the fallen angels, because we need people like you, the people that will still go all out for people. I mean, this world needs Virgos. We have to have you. I mean, you're beautiful people with beautiful souls, and even when you walk in a room, you just, you are angelic. You truly are. So thank you for being a Virgo, and looks like your love life for some of you is going well. You have either a boyfriend or soon to be fiance or a husband that adores you. And why wouldn't they? Because you guys are perfect. Always put together. Probably OCD on some level. And just want to reinforce that the OCD perfectionist is not just a personality glitch, right? It will, and that is a quote from the book that I was telling you about. It can be very, very self-destructive. So just be mindful of that. It's okay to fail, even though you're scared to do it. I've always been that way with like homework and stuff like that, and even my kids do, and I think they get it from me. But it's very it's bad. And I have dealt with that, because now I take every failure. I still try not to have failures as a learning experience. And once you do that, then you're kind of like, oh, okay, now I know what to do next time. And you kind of have to let it roll off your back, which is going to be extremely hard for you with your perfectly clean house and organized cabinets and closets and all that kind of stuff. And women with your makeup and or your hair or everything is always clean, put together, nice. Speaking of which, real quick before I go, this is for the women, right? And this is not like a makeup channel tutorial or whatever, but this palette, it's the Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's kind of like messy, but this palette is the bomb. This eyeshadow is so nice. I was gonna get the Renaissance palette, but then I dyed my hair kind of purple, and I had to get darker colors because Scorpio season had me feeling some kind of way. So I had to get darker colors. I can't really rock the blonde in the wintertime, or the blondie kind of hair. So anyway, you guys should check out this palette. It's really, really nice. If you're blonde, check out, or with lighter hair, the Renaissance palette is really pretty. So yeah, so that's my makeup plug for anything. I'm not sponsored anyway. So it was nice to have such a beautiful reading after all that deep muck that we went through with the other signs and all that kind of stuff going on. I mean, because basically I don't see like any specific situation, and some they could be situational, but I really see you. These are just kind of traits or things that you do, things that you need to maybe be reminded of to take care of yourself, because I do see that somebody here is not feeling well and they're not sleeping and they need to take care of themselves, desperately need to take care of themselves, and you need to rest. And judging by the energy I was getting off these males here, or partners, could be either one that your partner is very good to you, and you deserve to heal, because after the holidays you're gonna glow up. Something's coming good for you. I think it's something that's coming from your soul, something inside yourself, maybe a hobby, a craft, something that you've always wanted to do, something that gives you a really, really sense of who you are, self-worth, something that you've created from the inside. It's coming from your soul, something, and you shine when you do it, because you finally made time to put yourself first. And yeah, it's great for you. Oh, so yeah, I will be back sometime during Sag season. Real quick, I'm kind of booked up for personal readings right now, so it may take like if you book one, it would probably take me close to a week now. I did get the other ones called up so I can open up, but then when I did, I booked up for the week. So if you wanted them for Christmas or anything like that, it will take me probably close to a week. I haven't put anything up for emergency readings, because I mean, if I can't do regular ones, I don't really have the time to stop and do an emergency one either. But I would answer questions. So if you have any questions about anything that I saw in here, or I was able to get everything out of here that I saw for your sign. So I don't see anything extra. But if there was something that's specific that you were looking for, or you saw something in here, message me. And yeah, let me know in comments if any of the stuff has happened to you, or if this describes you in any way. I'm interested. I know that it's correctly describes the Virgos that I know personally. So, all right, I'll see you in a week or so. Bye, Virgo.